I'm your host for today. I want to thank you for coming. I'm also a newcomer, just like everybody here. Most people here are all newcomers, so I'm very new as well. I came to Canada last year and just recently graduated after a 2-year course. So thank you. So I'm here to learn, just like you. We know it's going to be an impactful day, so it's going to be worth your while. I want to call on Pastor Nathan Tober, who is the pastor for TICC and who have been so great to support us in this particular program to do the opening prayer. Please, a round of applause for Pastor Nathan. Thank you.
All right, well, welcome to each of you. My name's Nathan. Great to see you. Meeting many of you for the first time. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate those of you who are mentors, panelists, and those of you gathering. Some of you here for the first time. Very nice to meet you. This is a church. So today is not a church meeting per se. This is what we are advertised, and it's to help you if you're a newcomer to Canada. But we believe that the Lord Jesus helps us in our affairs of life, and so I'm just going to pray and ask Him to help us, give us wisdom. And many of us are, if you're new to Canada, you need wisdom to navigate the housing, as we were talking earlier, or employment. So we're just going to ask the Lord very simply to help us in that way today. Dear Lord Jesus, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your love for each person here today. We thank you for helping each of us have wisdom, how to navigate a new country and to navigate how to get our lives in order here in this country, Father. We thank you for that wisdom today. We thank you for your guidance in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So I welcome Falake, who really is the brain behind this today. I'll hand the mic back to her, but give her a big hand clap. She's done a great job organizing.
Thank you very much, Pastor Tayton. All right, so we're going to get straight into the panel discussion. I'm going to first start by introducing our panelists. Now, we have carefully picked these people because we want them to sort of resonate with every newcomer, especially when it comes to career and business. So you have our panelists who are also immigrants. They all came here at one point or the other. Some have been here for 10 years, 20 years, and even below. And they are all successful in their career and in their business. So if you're, for instance, looking at, can I have a career and start a business? We have some people in our panel who are doing both, so you can be very successful at that as well. Or if you just want to be a 9-to-5 and you just want to be able to, grow in your career, we also have people who are also 9-to-5. So we have a very great lineup, and I'm going to start with our first panelist. Her name is Doyin Abitoye. She's an accomplished leader with over 13 years experience in strategy execution, talent acquisition, and talent strategy, customer experience, talent management, capacity development, performance management, and project management. She has a lot on her plate. Her systemic approach to organizational design and problem solving has been proven over the years in telecommunications. She's currently an HR manager in a software company. She's a certified human resource professional with several bodies across the globe, a certified associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, and a certified member of the Human Resource Certification Institute, USA. She is an innovative social entrepreneur dedicated to serving humanity by graciously coaching and helping people gain clarity. She's passionate about reaching out to the less privileged and founded an NGO that is focused to meeting the needs of the vulnerable population in communities, both in Nigeria and Canada, called Give with Love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Doyin Abitoye. Yes, thank you. Sit down there. All right. Now, I'm going to the next panelist. Please welcome Dado Suwander. He's an accomplished senior executive, entrepreneur, board member, and thought leader with more than 30 years of success in the product development, manufacturing, and distribution of polymers, plastics, and composites in building products, sustainable energy, electronics, and sustainable packaging industry. leveraging extensive experience with merchant supply and demand. Dado is a valuable asset for companies seeking guidance on balancing growth of sales and marketing, technology, manufacturing, and finance. His broad area of expertise include finding capital during times of high growth, financial startup, entrepreneur, and large public companies. Dado has obtained a BSc, MSc, and PhD in chemical engineering from the University of Toronto and attended Technical University of Karlsruhe, Germany. He has served as an associate director of the Center for Biocompost and Biomaterials Processing at the University of Toronto. In addition, Dado holds 3 US patents and has published over 20 technical papers. Dado and his wife, Ike, have been involved in marketplace ministries for over 20 years through speaking, teaching, mentoring, and advising godly principles for business, career, life, and spirituality. Please welcome Dado Swander. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dado. Yes, sit there. Our next panelist is Shade Sani. She's a renowned real estate broker of record and a relocation consultant with over 2 decades of experience in the industry. A decade ago, she and her partner founded Teresa Realty, a brokerage dedicated to serving the unique needs of new immigrants, first-time house buyers, and Canadians alike. At heart, she's about people. Her journey has been marked by her commitment to emotional intelligence, design thinking, and agile methodologies. She sees beyond transaction. She sees the dreams and aspirations that come with a new home. Aside being a real estate, she's also a certified project manager and agile enabler and design thinker. This allows her to use agile methods to solve clients' most critical problems. She's passionate about advocacy at the workplace and well-being, conducting workshops on emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and positive energy. Wow, it's a lot. Okay. I want to see if I missed out anything. Okay. Please welcome Shade Sani. Thank you, Shadi, for coming. Okay, we have 2 more people, and we're done. The next panelist is Daniel Stephens. He's an immigrant from India. He came to Canada in December 2016 and completed his postgraduate diploma in computer science and database development from Lapton College in Toronto. He started working in 2018 as an application developer for Accident Support Services International Limited, and currently employed as a software developer at Acadia's IBI Group. He got his PR in November 2020 and became a citizen in August 2023. Such a sweet story. Please welcome with me, Danny Stephens. Okay, I think we have everyone. All right, so the last person we have, she's a representative from TNO, the Neighborhood Community Organization. Her name is Sandra Morris. She's here with our team. So please welcome Sandra Morris. Thank you. So we're going to have questions for our panelists, and we're going to also have a Q&A after, so you can write down your questions because we're going to have time for that. And then there's also going to be a one-on-one session as well after the panel if you want to have discussions with them. So I'm going to start with my extreme left all the way down to where Shade is doing. Hold on. So many papers. Okay. So doing, as you reflect on your journey as an immigrant, because obviously you came in as an immigrant like everybody here, the first 3 years, they say it is always really tough. How did you get your first job and the lessons that you would like to share with us?
Thank you very much, Folake. How many minutes do I have to respond?
Well, average of 2 to 3 minutes. Let's try and keep it, because we're really talking about more of storytelling. We're using storytelling as a powerful tool to reach out. And so,
That's why I asked, because I could spend the whole day telling a story of my journey. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for having me here. It's so nice to be in your midst, to share my story. Like I said to Folake when she reached out, it's an opportunity to pay it forward. So I migrated to Canada 2019 March. So that's about 4 years, 9 months. That was when I fully came in. At first, came in, went back, just couldn't decide. So, but then we had to do this. So back to your question, Folake. So I have some notes so that I could be very structured in my responses, even though it's a storytelling. So one, it wasn't easy. It was a tough decision. I'm sure everybody can agree to that. Uprooting yourself from something you've known all your life to an unknown thing. So for me, I would say it was led by God, because coming into Canada, first I said, God, I'm not going to take this step. Pardon me if you are not, because I know different people are in this room, but I'm sorry, I just have to tell my story the way it is. So for me, I was like, if you're not going with me, I'm not going. Until I heard clearly saying, I would go with you and make every crooked path straight. So that was a word I held on to. And trust me, it wasn't easy. There were days where I would be in my Airbnb, because that was what I got in for 4 months. I'll be in my Airbnb and be on the floor and just asking God to help me. Because maybe I've just reached out to a recruiter, and then once they hear your voice and they know you're not speaking like them, irrespective of whatever years of experience you had. Before I came into Canada, I had over 11 years experience as an HR professional. So what I was even asking for was more like a junior role. But the moment a recruiter hears your voice, like, oh, sorry, the person you'll be competing with, or the people you'll be competing with, have been in the system for so long. But anyways, back to the question, how did I make this true? One was God. Secondly was making the best of, there's a word I use, utilizing immigrant services, such as, there was one I used when I came in immediately, was to join a program led by Access. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of Access. So they always have different programs for different professionals, internationally trained professionals. So I came in for the program that they had for HR professionals. So in those courses, it was a 7 weeks course. They had to teach us soft skills. They had to teach us about the laws, because trust me, in whatever it is you do, the laws are totally different from wherever you're coming from. So for me, that was breaking the ice. And how I got my first job was through this. Not everyone in my cohort, because we're about 20-something, got their job through them, but I was one of the fortunate ones. And it wasn't like it was thrown at me. I had to go in for an interview among other people in my class. But then, to the next point, how did I make it through? I had to connect with someone who had been in the system for a long time, had been a professional, to help me prepare for my interview. So I remember on the day that I was going in for my interview, she was on her way to work on the train. And she was like, Doyen, I'm going to go through with you. I'm going to prepare you for the interview. And I remember when she said, so tell me about yourself. I did talk about myself. And then next thing she was like, so how is your day going? And I was like, fine. She was like, what? Keep talking. That was what she said to me. And I kept talking. I was all chatty. She was like, one thing here is that they like people being chatty. So that's like soft skills, communication skills. And then aside that, she was like, you also need to show a lot of enthusiasm. You have to show a lot of energy. So she taught me some tricks that I never could have learned from anywhere. Also, the immigration service also helped me with a lot of things that I didn't know. So because I asked how many minutes. So there are quite a lot of things. Another thing, so I'm just going to talk about bullet points now. So another thing is networking. Another point I'm going to make again, it was volunteering. So I did a lot of volunteering even while I was taking the course and I was trying to settle in, even though they didn't pay me jack shit. But then I knew that I was just learning something and I was also using that to network. Another thing I would say that really helped me was also being persistent and resilient. There were times that I felt like I just didn't know what I was doing. And I thought about my kids back home because one of the conditions for them coming to meet me was if I got a job. And thank God it worked out right. I got my first job. When I went in for that interview, I was all chatty. I could talk about my experience. I could speak to it. I was bright and a lot of energy. And we're like, okay, yeah, it's you we're looking for. So I'm going to stop at this point.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was so as short as it was, but some key points you mentioned: networking, understanding the system, using the available resources that are available for immigrants. These are really key. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to go to Dado now. Dado, as you reflect your journey as an immigrant and a newcomer, I know it's been a very long time for you, but how has it been, in terms of, hold on, let me think I have the right questions. How has it been for you, starting a business, with the experience that you've had over the years, especially when you came in, years back? What would be, the key things that you want to say that has helped you, to be able to, establish and start your business in Canada?
Thank you.
Yeah.
As Falake said, that I may be a little bit different because I came here long ago in 1982. Right? I've been here for 41 years.
Wow.
But throughout the time, actually, I have helped a lot of new immigrants to establish themselves here, whether it is in the job or starting a business. And one thing I did was, when I first came here, I came here as a student. Actually, I was actually dragged by my mother, who got a landed immigrant. So as a teenager, I got dragged into Canada. But at the time, I was studying already in Germany for 3 years, and I came to Canada as a landed immigrant. And I study. I'm a thinker. I like to pursue knowledge. So I went all the way, as was mentioned earlier, not just undergraduate, but also all the way up to getting my PhD. But I never liked to be a professor. So I always liked to be a businessman right from the very beginning, because of the upbringing of my family. I know a lot of people, they always think, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a businessman, not knowing the pitfalls in starting a business. I will be able to guide people. I have started 3 companies on my own company, and also started 2 companies for other people, right? So I like to call myself like a startup specialist. I'm not, I worked for a big company before, for multinationals, but I don't see myself fit into these multinationals because I like startup. So anybody who like to start a business, I can give you some advice. Now, whether you are in a career or in a business, I think the first thing you need to know is, number one, you need to have a good English language, right? And I pursued that when, even when I was studying in the university, Oh, mind you, when I first came here, I prepared myself to study in Germany, so I learned German. So when I came here, my English was not very good. So every opportunity I have, I always try to, whether it is in the summer or in the evening, I would learn English. I try to perfect it, both in writing as well as in speaking, right? It's very important because it makes a good impression if you can speak, if you can communicate your idea very well, right? And second thing is you need to build network, right? Unfortunately, a lot of immigrants, when they come here, they hang out with the people from their own country, right? That's, yes, it is very convenient, comfortable to hang out with the people of your own kind, speaking your own language. I know people who have been here for 40, 50 years, but still don't speak English very well, right? So I make myself always try to pursue to speak and write English well. And that's a very important key in success in life, right? So how do you network, right? I join clubs. If you are interested in business, then join clubs that like business owners. I join many clubs, including a couple of Christian business owners, right? And they're very, very, I call it super white people who live in the farm, like to cottage, which is very different from me, who is a city person, right? So, but I have to learn how to speak their language and know them, right? So as I said earlier, so try to hang out with people that are different from you, right? It's very important because we're still going to deal with them, whether they are as a customer or as a supplier. You need to deal with them on a daily basis, right? So the question is then, well, I didn't start a business right away, right? At the beginning, after I finished my school, I got a job at the university, working for a professor, right? Doing research there. But just happened that the professor also has a business mind. So the professor and I said, okay, you know, why don't we start a company? Right? So that's how the first company started, and we got, through the network, we got investor, actually a Korean man who invested in our first venture, right? That's after working in the university for a couple of years. So one led to another, learning from business failure. Then I said, well, also through my network, I know somebody who's from Singapore whose father happened to be rich. And he likes the idea that I have. That's when you start a business, the most important thing is you know what you want to do, right? And I think the business idea is very important. And out of that business idea, with the network of the people that you have, and then working for other people is also a good thing because you learn, and even though you make mistakes, you still get paid for it, right? Whereas you start business right away, if you make a mistake, then you know you lose everything that you invested in this, right? So that's I'm going to stop at this point where because the question is how do I start a business, you know? Because I got a lot of people around me. Who likes my idea, you be able to share your idea clearly, and sometimes, many times actually, you need to be able to put your idea in writing. Because not just verbal, but in writing, including all the numbers. So even though I study engineering, I also study on my own business, marketing, everything. I learned it myself, not for a degree, but for my own experience. So at the point is how you present your idea, not just verbally, in writing. Have the people who are willing to invest in your idea. If you have your own money, that's good. But if you don't have your own money, you need other people's money. And then the third thing is having the experience to show that you have done it. That will bring investor to be interest in investing in your idea. That's it.
Thank you so much, Dado. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah, so as a newcomer, there's obviously opportunity for you to start a business. He's giving you his own tips, his own history. There's a possibility that you can do that. He's doing that, he's done that. And I believe other people are going to do that as well. I'm going to go to Sade now. So Sade obviously is also a business person, and I would like her to share some of the insights in starting a business as an entrepreneur. When you started your business as well, and I know that I think you're a 9 to 5 as well, so you're combining the two together. So that's something for everyone to learn, that you can actually have a business and still have a 9 to 5. So we just wanted to share some insights about your journey as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Folake, and everyone for having me here. I'm super excited to be here. Just a question for the audience. How many of you would like to start a business? Okay, wonderful, a lot of us. How many of you would like to have a 9 to 5? Okay, a lot of us as well. All right, and I'll talk about my story very quickly, and I just want you to know that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So if you do want to start a business, you can. You can literally start that business today. That's the honest truth. So what happened when I came to Canada, I told myself that I followed my husband, because I was doing very well where I was, but he was coming here for his MBA, so we moved to Canada. And moving to Canada, I knew that once I get to Canada, I wouldn't have a job yet, because my first degree was in industrial chemistry, and I'm not sure I wanted to be in a lab anyway, so I was ready to change that. So coming in, I already planned to start a business. So to your question, how did I start? When we think of business, at times we make ourselves believe it's something that is so unattainable. We have the idea, we don't have the money, which, if you're starting a large business, absolutely. But what did I do? I went to learn how to make hair. Simple, right? So I went to the market back in Nigeria to learn how to make hair, that once I come to Canada, I'll start doing Ghana weaving for people. So that was the very first business that I wanted to start. I already planned to start that before I left. But now I'm in Canada, I have a business idea, I want to start it tomorrow, I give myself a deadline. Before I go to sleep tomorrow, I would have started this business. So I told my husband, he said, okay, how would they know that you're going to start? So I said, I'm going to go knock on doors. So I went into my neighborhood, I knocked on everybody's door, hi, my name is this, I just moved into the area, I know how to make hair, very nice hair. And nobody showed up. Nobody showed up, and information is key. Somebody told me about this website called Vistaprint, where they give you free business cards. They'll make your business card for free. But in return, at the end of that business card, they would write Vistaprint on it. So it's more like advertising for them as well. So now I ordered 100%, I ordered free business cards, hairdresser, and put all that in. And I went to every house and I dropped, much easier, I didn't even need to knock and try to explain myself, much easier, much faster. I put it under everybody's doors and I started getting clients. And then I realized, oh man, it takes so long to make one person's hair. And at times, you finish making this hair and they don't even say thank you because they're going to pay you. I'm not sure I want to do this type of business anymore. But it was still very good because it built my confidence. I was in a new country, and now I had a small business that I could do. And around that time, this was about 2 decades ago, that was when beads were a big thing. So I called my mom and said, could you make all these nice beads for me, and the next person coming, just send it through. remember that I don't think people were smuggling drugs. Maybe they were, but it wasn't very. If you tell people to carry things for you, then they still will. So my mom made so many beads, and so now I had this hair business, I had the beads business, and it was doing well. And I'll just pause there and just go back a bit. So while I'm Nigerian, and while I was in university in Nigeria, there was always something called strike, where the lecturers would decide not to lecture anymore because they weren't paid. And every time we had a strike, instead of me staying at home, I always learned a trade. So I had learned quite a few trades that way. And one of the ones that was very lucrative for me back in university was making cakes. So for Valentine, when everybody's out, with their boyfriends and girlfriends, I was always so tired because I had made like 100 cakes, So I was the one that people would always come to make the kind of cake, all those novelty cakes with a tie or like a soccer field and all those things. It was new back then. So with that, I knew I could add that to my business in Canada because that came very easily for me. And unknown to me, Michael's, Michael's? So Michael's, they give cake decorating classes. So I already knew a lot about cake. So going to the Michael's class, I think it was $35 or something. That was what I paid. And because I was taking a class with them, I was able to get 50% off everything they were selling, all the cake equipment, which are pretty expensive. So I started making cakes, expensive cakes. For the first time, I went from collecting $20 for every hair I made to collecting $400 for my first cake. That was huge, huge. You'd have thought it was $1 million I got. So why I'm sharing these 3 businesses that I started with, why I'm sharing those with you is because I want you to realize that it doesn't have to be anything huge. Whatever you have is enough for you to start. And you can still go on Vistaprint and still get your free business cards and still circulate that. Now with Instagram and all this, you might not even need Vistaprint anymore because social media will do all that for you. While I was doing all this businesses, I went back to school to study project management. And while I was doing project management, I thought I might as well go back to school to study something else. What can I do? It was more like a mini-mo type situation, something that I would enjoy doing. And I went back to school to do real estate as well, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get the type of job I wanted or would be able to give me the kind of money I wanted. It just happened that around the time I got my real estate license, because it took a while. The thing with real estate is this. A lot of new immigrants don't understand, but you have to go to school for it. It's not, you just don't wake up one morning and say, yes, I want to start selling houses. No. In fact, if you want to make hair in Canada, because I had a friend who went back to school to make hair. It took her 2 years. And I had a hair business. By second day I came to the country, but that's a story for another day. So it took me about a year and a half to complete my real estate certification. And I registered at that time with Century 21. That was the first place I worked. And 2 days after I registered, I got my first interview to start doing a 9 to 5 as a project manager. I didn't know, I wasn't planning to do both, that was the truth. I wanted to do just one, but I can't just put all my eggs in one basket and hope it works out. I had to diversify. It just happened that both of them happened at the same time. So, since the very beginning, I've been doing the 2 because I just had the 2. I had to spend some time to familiarize myself when I got into my 9 to 5, because this is a new country, a new organization, and similar to how we're here today, we don't want to waste your time. We want to ensure that you're getting as much out of this as you can. That same mindset made me think, this organization took a chance on me. I want to make sure that I'm the best project manager they have ever had, and I can, I don't want to hog the microphone or anything. So I'm going to pause, but we still have so many other opportunities during the one-on-one, and I can share if more on either of the journeys or how I do the two. I'll pause there for now.
It's good to hear people say their experience, when it comes to combining both entrepreneurship and career. It's absolutely possible, and you can be successful there. And for me, I think the mindset is so critical. Having that mindset that you can do it and you will do it, it starts really from there. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to go to Danny now. So Danny is probably one of the youngest in terms of the number of years he came into Canada, aside from doing. So Danny, you're a 9-to-5 person. You're a software developer. As a newcomer, how has it been in terms of your perspective, the challenges you experienced as a newcomer, especially as regards employment and career, and how you were able to overcome this, if you had any, which I'm sure you did.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say that I feel like quitting my job and starting a business. But in the beginning, I started off as a student here. 2016 December is when I came. And as soon as I came to Canada, I was in school, but I also had to find a survival job because bills have to be paid. So I was trying to find different jobs. I went to different marketing events or networking events like this. Like someone said, Axis, I went to their workshop as well, got my resume done. But eventually, I switched jobs to find something that suited my interests, even as a part-timer. I, like Dwendo said, I wanted to improve my communication skills at that time because although I was from India, I wanted to, because in India we speak British English, so we wouldn't say garbage, we would say dustbin, and we wouldn't say a building as a building, we call it an apartment, and here things are very different. So I wanted to understand all these small nuances of the English language that are different here. So I tried to get as many customer service jobs as possible so I can start talking. And finally, I got into a customer service job as a part-timer. And God was so gracious to me where my boss was like, you give me a schedule and I will schedule you in according to your time. So I was very grateful for that. Eventually, I built my network. I was a part of a club called Toastmasters Club where I met a lot of friends, practiced public speaking, spoke to people, built connections. And when it was time for me to graduate, this was 2018, I marketed my skills more. So I would go to people and tell that, I have a computer science engineering degree, and I also finished another diploma here in computers, and I'm trying to break into tech. So almost everybody who met me knew that I was trying to get into software development or some sort of field that way. It just so happened at the place where I was working, there was a lady in the head office who had to go on a maternity leave, and my boss, my manager there, I would keep telling him, I'm a software developer. And then one fine day after I graduated, he comes up to me and he's like, you said you were doing something in computers, there's a position in the company. I was like, yes, I am looking for any role that's into development, into engineering. And he asked me to give me my resume to him, and I did. The next day, I get a call from the head office saying, hey, we have a position. Can you interview for us this week? So I went up there, and then God was so grateful. I'm so grateful. God was very gracious. Sorry. God was very gracious that that very week I got my job. And yeah, since then I've been a developer and switch companies too. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that round of applause for him. Yeah, I think, when it comes to career and business, you can't help but continue to sell yourself. And there's no one that's going to sell you better than yourself. So you have to keep doing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And finally, to Sandra. So Sandra, I was just going through your desk and I saw so many things that TNO does for newcomers. I was really surprised. Sometimes information is so key and it's so important. I wanted you to share with us today some of the key services that you render to newcomers.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. So TNO, which is a neighborhood organization, which is located in One Railside Park area.
Yeah, I think you just have to move it closer to you.
We offer different services. We offer services for youth to seniors. Employment is one of our major service. We provide employment service for youth and also adults. We have youth program for youth 15 to 29, youth who are in school, youth who are out of school, who are not working, and also youths other youths who fit the employment general guidelines. We provide settlement services, which is immigration assisting clients with completing their sponsorship applications, citizenship classes. If you clients who don't have anywhere to do their citizenship exams, whatever, because it has been done online now most of the time, we provide that service. We have senior services as well, which help with seniors in the community. Some of the services are not for the general, it is specific to the community, but it depends on your geographic location, then you can still access these services. We have mentoring service, which is done online. This is where youth and also adults have the opportunity to network with employers, to network with other people in the field that they would like to get in. We have a trades program, which is for youth as well, and which you get into whichever trades you would like to get into. And you also provide and give information and guidance to your career path. We have the doctors group, which is for international trained professionals who would like to get back into their field. They assist them with preparation for the exams, etc. And we have a mental health section as well, because migrating to Canada, it's not as easy as sometimes we think it is. It comes with a lot of challenges. Sometimes some of us experience some mental health issues there. And just somebody to speak to, because all of us have some amount of mental issues, right? From time to time. We talk to our colleagues, our friends, whatever. So it's just somebody for you to speak to. I miss it. We also have a food collaboration, which is a food bank that provides food for the less fortunate in our community. And we also have what is called YESS, which is for newcomer youths. This is a program that helps newcomer youths, specifically for newcomer youths to get into the job market and to also prepare you help you with your resumes, interviews, etc. So TNO have a wide variety of programs. I might have missed some, but you can come to our booth after and you can get all the information that you need. We also do the Better Job Ontario program, which is for citizens and permanent residents. Okay, I think that's it for now.
Thank you so much. So please do. Thank you, Sandra. So please do visit them at the booth. They'll be there. Some of our colleagues are here. She has a big team, so they will be available to assist you with whatever questions that you have. So we're going to have one more round because we're also very particular about time. I'm going to go back to Doi. So this question is something that's very critical. A lot of immigrants come with years of experience from their hometown and all that, their home country. How would you say, or what would you want to recommend for newcomers to leverage on their home experience to integrate and excel in their career in Canada? What would you say that the employers are looking for? And how can newcomers leverage on their years of experience from their home country here in Canada?
Thank you so much, Folake. So I'm going to say that employers in Canada, a lot of times look for a combination of a lot of things, such as one, soft skills, your technical skills, and also how you are able to culturally adapt. I'm going to ask a question or two questions from everyone here. Does anyone know, or have you ever heard anyone say transferable skills? Can you, let me see your hands raised up if you've ever heard that. Okay, few people. So, okay. So a lot of times I got to know about that when I came here. And I have been using it a lot. And I've also advised a lot of people, even when I coach people, because I'm also a life and wellness coach. And I do that for a lot of immigrants, is to leverage on one, your transferable skills. And let me explain to you, I have kind of like a definition of what that is. So transferable skills just means what it's saying. And what it means is like a portable skill, a skill that you can transfer and you can take from one job to the other. Or you can use, so it's a skill that you have, but you can always use it wherever you find yourself. A very good example of that would be, for instance, let's say you can code. So whatever job that's related to that, it means that you can move your coding into that. Or let's say you have a great communication skills. It means that you can use that when you get whatever job title, whatever role it is. A good example also is maybe you have a problem-solving skills. So you can always use that in whatever job. So a good example would be, let's say someone says, oh, I used to be let's say, I'm going to use what I know very well, a human resource professional from maybe my home country. And then you get into Canada and people start to ask you a question, what transferable skills do you have? In that case, you step back and say, oh, I've done recruitment before. It means that I can be a recruiter. I have done administrative work before. It means I can be an administrator. So with that, you are not just only restricted to say, oh, it has to be an HR generalist role or it has to be an HR BP role. It means that there are a lot of other things that you can transfer the skills that you have from home and use it for whatever it is when you come in here. Aside these transferable skills, a lot of times also, you can also leverage on your multilingual skills that you have. Quite a number of people can speak more than one language. So I tell them, if you are in here, try to see where they need that so much. And the other thing that I would say also is having a global perspective. So a lot of times when I walk into an interview, and I remember walking into my first interview, and there's some questions that they asked me, and I had to confidently tell them that I've had years of experience doing this, so all I have to do was leverage on one network, resources where I would get those information from, because I'm sure you are aware that in this part of the world, they are so strict on the labor laws, health and safety, and all that. So being able to tell them that I have a global perspective and I'm able to leverage on resources. So all those things are things that employers want to listen to and want to know. And then most importantly, we can never stress that enough is one. Another thing is networking. And then also stepping back and asking yourself, if this is a role that I want to get into, what kind of certification, what kind of re-education do I want to take? So I've taken quite a number of certifications since I've been in Canada, and I have quite a number of goals on some certifications that I plan to take next year. That is leading me to wherever it is I want to go, or whatever it is I want to become. So, and then finally, I'm going to stop by saying adaptability. Are you flexible enough to adapt to the organization, because as an HR professional, I've seen a case where we've had to maybe terminate an employment, not because the employee wasn't smart at their job, but because they simply lacked soft skills and no one in the team wanted to work with them. So the employers are big on soft skills. Not going there and trying to fight everyone, but just going there and saying, what more can I do? How can I help? I want to learn. And just maybe even a smile can do the magic. And everyone knows that if you walk up to that guy, even if he doesn't know the answer, he knows where to direct you to. So everyone wants to work with you. So those are the kind of, I'm just going to stop. I can go on and on what employers look out for as an employer, and also what HR looks out for even when they're going to hire you. But I think you can ask questions when we connect later today. Thanks. Yeah.
One of the key things is, being very strategic. Whether you want to do your career or your business, you have to be very strategic, and you have to sort of relearn to learn. Changing that mindset and being continuously improving yourself, because you want to be excellent in whatever that you're doing. I'm going to quickly go to Dado. Dado, you're a C executive and a top leader in your career. And I really want to know the kind of insights you can give to share to help newcomers who want to progress in their career, especially for 9 to 5. What are the things that, in your journey to C executive are the top things that you want to share with anyone who wants to attain that level in their career? Thank you.
Okay. This is about pursuing career rather than having your own business. Remember, when you are working for other people, whether it is a small company or a big corporation, you're working for other people, right? So you are paid for the problem-solving ability that you have, like as mentioned earlier. So at the end of the day is what you can offer to them, right? Now, in number one, when you have your own business, like you are the king of that business. When you work for other companies, I don't want to call it a slave, but you are actually paid to do certain thing, right? It's very different. Now, working for a big company, I work for a university, which is government institution. I hate doing it because it's so political, so much bureaucracy. Even try to get something like an agreement signed, it can take months. And if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, I don't think you will last very long in that kind of circumstance. I worked for a multinational company, the largest plastic company in Canada at the time. It's so political, a lot of backstabbing happening in that company. So you always have to watch, right? Even though you are trying to do your best, there's always somebody who doesn't like you, right? In that company. And you have to, unfortunately, you have to play politics. And my boss, who is a Christian, one time told me like this, right? As long as you deal with people, you deal with politics. Even in many churches, they're dealing with politics because when you deal with people, there's always politics involved. And now, how do you maneuver around politics without getting involved in the politics, right? Because I don't like to do that. So again, number one, do you have something valuable to offer to that company, right? You always have to think that way. And like it was said earlier, like you are paid to solve the problem, right? And if you're not a problem solver, then you're not useful for that company, right? Now, as you go up higher in the level, because at one time I was a director of product development in a large company, and then I was a VP of like sales and marketing in like a smaller, relatively smaller company. But I was a president of my own company too. So in every situation, you have to adjust. You have to be able to adjust. You have to see the playing field, and you have to adjust that way, right? And here, as a Christian, I always ask God for, number one, for wisdom, how to maneuver around that, right? Number two, I always need favor, because favor from God translates to favor from man, not just from the people, your coworkers, but also from your boss, right? Now, the higher you are in a position, a lot of times the easier you get chopped when there is something, some difficulty happen to the company. Like, for example, when I was a director of product development in a multi-billion-dollar company, when my boss, who is the senior vice president, when the company was taken over, he was already told that he will be chopped right away on day one of the takeover. But he told me, you have a chance to actually present yourself why the company has to keep you, right? But I only have a week in that company after the takeover of the company. I give presentation, but they know already probably that because I'm loyal to the boss that got chopped, then I'm next in line, right? So what I'm trying to, that's why a lot of people don't want to take a managerial or executive position, because the higher you are, the higher you get chopped, the faster you get chopped, right? So that's why you have to think. When you work for a company, sometimes you may want to refuse a promotion for a higher position, because sometimes you become more vulnerable to get to be chopped from the position. So yeah, a lot of politics. Unfortunately, you have to maneuver around it. Ideally, not getting involved in it, but you still have to go through the water with a lot of sharks. Okay, so that's just my advice for people who are pursuing position in that managerial ladder.
Key things that stood out for me there was, of course, the higher you go, the more vulnerable you becomes, to find yourself back in, So that's, for me, the reason why you should have, we call it Plan B, having a business at the side, But another thing that you mentioned is that value, what value are you bringing to your organization? You have to continuously work to ensure that you have value at every point in time. So it's a learning process. It's a growth process as always. So Shadi, your final question for today, because we're looking at the time as well. For you, I know that you're into real estate, and you stopped at the point where you were going to tell us how you started your real estate business, and this is what you've been doing for years. So I wanted you to just talk a little bit more about that, being an immigrant, and how you started that and how it's going, and any other tips you want to be able to give people who want to start their business as a newcomer.
Okay, thank you, Folake. Just before I go into that, and I love real estate, so I'm already pretty excited with that question, because I wasn't sure which I was going to get. Before I go into that, I just wanted to quickly touch on something that Dwayne had said. There is a Spotify, like a podcast that I just started, and it is just to debunk some myth. What do I mean? There is so much misinformation out there why did I start this? Is because people continue to ask me questions that I don't have answers to. They'll say things like, I'm an HR person coming from South Africa. Can I get an HR job in Canada? How would I know? I'm not in HR, but I thought to myself, how can I help solve this problem? So I just started interviewing, people. So right now, I think I have about maybe 10 interviews already completed. But the point is, I'm asking people that are I'll continue to use HR as an example, that are in HR in another country that got to Canada and are able to land HR jobs. How did you do it? What courses did you take? Who helped you? So it's called Ask Canadian Pros. And the idea is you are actually getting information that works. Pharmacists that came from other country and are pharmacists in Canada, how did you do it? What are the steps you took? Because if you have spent 4, 6, 8 years in university, in any reputable university in the world, I honestly believe you should be able to use that to get the kind of job you want, and you don't have to go work at, say, Walmart. So I just started that. So maybe I'll call all of you to tell us how you did it, and we'll put it online for people to listen and just be able to access. So thanks for reminding me when you mentioned that. Okay. So going on into my real estate. So we started the real estate, organization, my partner and I, as I said, and we wanted to sell houses. Let's sell houses, let's market ourselves. That's how it started. But every business you do, you need to find a niche for yourself. You need to be known for something so that anytime anybody wants to do or need that service that you render, they call you. Because otherwise, your niche should be so wide. You're marketing to seniors, to newcomers, to people that have money. Like, who's going to call you like, master of, you can't be master of everything. So our niche is newcomers. If you're a newcomer and you haven't heard of Carissa Realty, you should. Because what do we do? So mainly when we have people coming to the country, if they do reach out to us before they leave their home country, we would help them rent their first accommodation before the land. We'll rent it, we'll furnish it, we'll put food in, we'll help do grocery, and the key is waiting for you in front of a lockbox. From the airport, you can go home. How many of you had that experience when you moved in? One person. Wonderful, wonderful. How did you feel? Did you feel like you had a soft landing?
So I had a friend who was already, so she was doing all the back hand work. So that was easy for me.
Okay, so she said she had a friend who did all this for her, so it was easy. So for the rest of people coming in, we are that friend. We're your friend. So that's the idea. The idea is, as you all know, coming into a new country is already difficult in itself. Being able to come, especially if you're coming with kids, we also put internet in the place for you. Of course, all this at a fee. It's not free. But in addition to that, we've partnered with some organizations. I have had clients in the past that could not afford their furniture, and I'll just link up with a furniture bank, and they will bring furniture in for them free. The only thing I found about the furniture bank is that I think it's a government organization, so they're not very fast. The furniture usually arrives like a week, 2 weeks after they moved in, sleeping on the floor for 2 weeks, but they still get all the furniture for free. So we didn't plan, we didn't sit down to say, what niche do we want to get into? Let's go into, that wasn't how we started. Similar to how I said, I was doing cakes and hair and this and that. There were other businesses that we've tried, selling shirts and, and all TM Blooming shirts. But it was just more of, more and more, we will get people that are already in Canada that will call and say, hey, we would like to buy a house or would like to buy a church, which we've done for people. But with Canada trying to expand its borders, more people were coming as new immigrants, skilled workers, and landlords were not ready to rent to them. And the truth is, I do not blame these landlords because the new people coming don't have employment and they don't have credit. A landlord will be scared. So you having a friend, as I said, who has been doing this for about 20 years, who understands what the landlord wants, let's build trust with this landlord, which is really what we do. Let's build trust with you so you understand we don't want to take your money and run away. And then use that to get you settled quicker. So that is the niche we're in, and that's usually what we're known for. So you can Google us and check our Google reviews, and when you read it, you'll see most people, that's probably what most people have written there. So how did we start? As I said, I started with Century 21, and I was a regular realtor with Century 21, doing my best, trying to make a buck and just make everybody happy. But one thing I will say is that I always humanize the experience. I want to understand who you are, what matters to you, where you come from, what you need. Do you really need that backyard if it's going to cost you $500 more? How many times would you actually barbecue? This is Canada. So I just have that conversation, that dialogue to understand who the person is, how much do you have. I have clients that have bare budget champagne taste. I try to bring them back to earth to say, you will still get there, but let's just start small. You can afford this now. We will furnish you really nicely for you, make it into a home for you. Settle in. When you get your first job, you only need to be here for 1 year. Just remember to come back so we can buy you your house when that time comes. So I don't know if I answered the question, but I hope that helped. Did that help anyone? Okay. All right. Thank you.
I remember when I eventually was, because I was having issues trying to get accommodation as a newcomer as well, and my family were coming, and I didn't have a place for them to come, so I was really desperate. And she was one of the people who actually was able to guide me, and that. So I know that as newcomers, we have this experience, trying to get accommodation, trying to get work. So we really need all the support that we can get, and having that community and being able to reach and connect is what is so critical in terms of the success rate. So Danny, your final question for today. What top 3 advice would you like to give newcomers to have a successful journey from thriving in their career, business, integrating and transitioning to a PR and citizenship? I know you had it so easy, and I really am hoping that everybody will have it as easy as you have. What other tips or what would you like to share that's really helped you in making it so seamless?
I think the first one would be find your community and stay in your community. You need people to help you. There's a quote that goes, I read a while ago, it says, there are many people behind success. Failure has only one person. Meaning, if you fail, you didn't ask for help. You didn't ask for people to help you get to where you are. So always be in a community and trying to find people like, this is a nice community. Coming to church is a very good community where you can grow. Second one is pick your battles wisely. So when I came to Canada, my sister actually, she told me that there are 3 parts of your life and focus on any 2 of them. The 3 parts being professional, personal, and social. So at any point of time in life, in any season, you pick two of them, either personal, social, professional, personal, any two of them, and focus on them because you don't have energy to focus on all of them. So pick your battles wisely, ask the Holy Spirit to give you discernment on which ones to pick, and then you can move forward from there. That's my second advice. And the third advice is always keep learning and keep moving forward. You cannot, like, if you're stuck, if you're not doing anything, and if you're stuck, then there's not much you're getting out of it. So it's always important to keep doing something all the time, and then if you fail, you learn, but you grow, you move forward. So yeah.
All our panelists, it's been such an amazing session. I believe everybody has learned something. Thank you so much, everyone. We're now going to open the floor to our Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands and we'll pass the mic to you. We can take a few questions, or if you're too shy, you have a question, awesome. If you have any other questions, you can write it down, okay? You have to come up here, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Muhammad Riaz, and I'm a newcomer since May this year. Um, you know, the best point for joining this kind of workshop is that it motivates me because it is a stressful time, and right now I can connect myself with the struggle you had at the first days, and I can feel that. But I think it is important because I'm a human resource professional with more than 13 years of experience back at my home. But still only, motivation, that will not work. We have to work on a grounds where the barriers to the newcomers to get into the market, that's still there. It's not in the books, but it's happening. And most of the human resource directors, the talent acquisition specialists to whom I have a network through LinkedIn, they're all newcomers. But still, that barrier is there. And they are the one who are, interviewing, who are providing the opportunities to the newcomers. But that barrier is still there. And I hope we have to work that, in a ground where that barrier can be removed, by the time. And it also for the entrepreneur that if that barrier is there for the newcomers, I hope you solve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Do we have any more questions, comments? Yes, please. Yeah.
The question
Trust me,
is
the struggle is real. I was in those shoes, and I feel you. And that's why we're having this kind of program, so that we could connect. There are a lot of tricks, there are a lot of cheat sheets that we're able to share. I know a lot of people who are also immigrants like me who have gotten jobs from maybe a recruiter reaching out to me, and I'm like, I'm not interested in this role, but can I refer someone to you? And trust me, they've gotten those jobs. I've had cases where even I reach out to recruiters that I'm sure that, oh, for sure you're going to get this job. And hell no, I didn't. So good, we are coming in here. We're going to meet ourselves. We're going to talk. We're going to connect. And I, just like I said, I always have lots of even coaching sessions with people to get more clarity and also to also prepare you for interviews. I've received those help. For like I remember I told you, for me, it's about paid it forward. I received those help. It's helped me so far. I'm not who I was when I walked into this country. I'm way better. And that's because of every support I've received. And so I try to pay it forward. I prepare people for interviews. And trust me, I could be very blunt. Telling you, hell no, don't say this. This is what you have to say. And trust me, when they go in there, it gets better. And aside that, I also wanted to say that for every challenges you face, for every failures you face, it just shows that you are moving closer to success. So let's connect after we're done with this. Thanks for laughing.
I just want to say that the first job is always the most difficult.
Yeah.
And the second one, the third one, it will get easier. That's why I think when I had my company at the time, the company we have like up to 70 employees. We probably help about 20 newcomers to get their first job in Canada. And some work only for 3 months, some work for years. But I can see now those 20 people that we hired, now one of them actually had a high position at CIBC. But you know, the first one was the most difficult one. So as a business owner, I was helping those first-timer, and then after, basically open the door for them.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the word. Talking about barriers, what would you advise to people who come in Canada when they are 40 plus or 50 plus?
Can I take the first shot?
Yes, please.
Again, what happened was, in 1998, there was a huge riot, and one ethnic group in Indonesia was targeted, which is with the Chinese blood, right? So a lot of refugees at the time came, and many of them are already in the 40s and 50s. And that's what would make it very, very difficult to get a job for them, because most employers like to hire people in the 20s, maybe in 30s. Those who are already 40 plus, is very, very difficult. So probably just be more patient, more humble, and when you network, you can probably even people who willing to not to see age anymore. If actually there are a lot of benefit for people who are hiring people who are in the 40s already. They have experience. They have gone through a lot of brokenness in life, and usually more humble. But there are some there's some who come here because many of them already have a managerial position in the country where they came from. And many of them had, if they had the pride in themselves that, you know, oh, I don't want to take the more entry-level job. That is, I call it the negative effect. So be humble.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I'm not 40, neither am I 50, but I have been in touch with people who are older and who have migrated to Canada. And so I'm just going to say some few things. One, no-nos are isolation. Never isolate yourself. One, that's never think, oh, I'm too old, I'm too big to be in this. In fact, I can't even say that to you because you are here right now. So that's one, no isolation. Never isolate yourself. Wherever you have to be, whosoever you have to meet with, to just keep talking about what you want, make sure you're doing that. Secondly, I would also say never underestimate your soft skills that you have and the experience that you have gathered over the years. Once you're able to articulate it, once you speak with someone who is able to give you an opportunity, trust me, they would see beyond the age, they would see beyond that, and they can tell when someone has value to give. Another thing I would say is that also be willing to unlearn, relearn, and learn. Never ignore the local job market dynamics. There are a lot of things to learn, even if you're old. Like, I'll just give a little joke. Like, I was talking to my younger son one of these days. He said something very ridiculous. He broke his leg, and he's been wearing an air cast. And he came home one day and was like, Mom, can you just please let us have an elevator in the house so that I don't have to use the stairs? And I gave him this look, and I said, do you know what I've just given you right now? And he was like, what? I said, I just gave you a bombastic side high. And immediately he called his older brother and was like, wow, Mommy's trending. As in like, Mommy just said this, and his brother was like, wow. So what I'm just saying with this little joke is that let us try to learn what we need to survive and be marketable in this time and age. And then finally, please never only rely on online applications. Keep speaking, keep using methods that are not the normal methods to get what you want. And also ask yourself, what can I give? What do I have in my hands that I can use? Maybe like what value can I add? So aside being an HR professional, I bake very lovely cakes. It was a skill that I picked up, and trust me, I'm making a lot of money from that. Aside that, I'm also a life coach. This is supposed to be a retirement plan. So let's start thinking, what do I have within me? Forget the age, it's just a number. I hope that's helpful. I went on and on.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Oh, sorry. You have it written. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity, especially for the newcomers. So this question will be specifically for the Mr. Dido. I first want to just shortly introduce myself. My name is Nasir. I am from Afghanistan. In my family background, my father, he was a businessman. He had 3 startups. It was successful for 3 years and then terribly failed. Then I went to China. I did my bachelor in medicine and post-graduation in cardiology. So I moved to Canada just recently, three months ago. I also had a small, or you can say mini startup in China. I helped my people to buy goods, other things from China, clear the custom, transport it back to my country. So I was providing a very good service during the time of pandemic because they were not able to come to China, and this was a good opportunity for me to use it and earn some amount of money. But last, it failed terrible. The same as like how my father, 3 startups failed. So my question from Dido is, how, as an immature startup or a businessman, I mean, how can I get investment from the investors? What are the tips or the strategies which I can use it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. You are right. 50% of startup business failed in the first 5 years, even in the first 2 years, right? That's statistics, right? And that's why, to be an entrepreneur, you need resilience. And you need ability to sustain all this, I call it blowback, blow on you. I did business with China too. I knew back in 2021, 2022, my container didn't arrive 6 months after I ordered. So I knew the pain, right? And I think people like you probably would be helpful because until now, I didn't want to go to China yet because for many reasons. I haven't seen my supplier for a long time. That's a unique situation that you need to identify what things that you can offer that other people cannot offer. That's number one. Number two is, when I lost my company in 2005, we almost lost everything, including my own house. Right? It's tough. My wife at the time was the VP Finance. She was able to negotiate with the bank a year before the company went down to take out the personal guarantee. Right? For that reason, we didn't lose the house, but we still owed the Ministry of Labor about $50,000 for unpaid vacation pay. Right? It was tough. It was hard. And there are many days during the tough time that we couldn't sleep because as a business owner, we have to pay our employees first before we pay ourselves, right? That's why, for people who want to start a business later on, I can advise you because we have failed in the past, but that failure makes us stronger. And I even advise a lot of people how to overcome that kind of challenges when the business is tough, right? I don't know if answer your question, but there's no simple rule how to answer that. I think, you need the wisdom, how to overcome every challenges. But I just want to say, all our 3 children, they saw us doing business, they enjoyed. Now all 3 of them work for banks, and none of them want to do into business. Right? So I'm just saying that, doing business, unless you have the blood to be an entrepreneur or business owner, it may look lucrative, but it's not, right? A lot of challenges, and I respect what you did.
Thank you so much, Edo. I would just want to add that for every failure, there's always a success. There's no business that hasn't gone through some failures. You want to talk about the big shots, in the industry, they've all gone through some form of failure. What I can also say, from my own experience as well, because I've also done different businesses back home, and I definitely wanted to start here, is that sometimes you might not be able to do it yourself. You might need to find someone to assist you, maybe a co-founder, to support you in that business, because we don't have it all. No individual can have it all. So you might need to look at your plans or your business itself and your strategy, and to say maybe you need somebody who has that expertise in that particular business. Especially as a newcomer, I believe that for you to be able to start a business in Canada by yourself, you need some form of home ground connection. I don't know if I'm right with that, because there are a lot of things you don't know. You don't know the tax system. You don't know so many things you might learn in the process, but you need somebody who is already on ground, who has that knowledge, that expertise, and you might want to start with that, and then eventually you want to grow, and then if you want to, separate, that's fine. But I think that for newcomers, it's better to have somebody who on ground that can support you in that. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to add, thank you, Falake. I just want to add to what you said. I think you said you were a doctor, a cardiologist as well? Yeah. Okay, so we'll come to that in a minute. But people who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world are the people that do. I didn't coin that was Steve Jobs. But the idea is, I like where your mind is going, and I like the fact that you didn't just say, I did this, it failed. You actually went back to when your dad did it. My dad did 3. It wasn't very successful. I'm doing it as well. So from a root cause analysis, you don't understand why it's failing. But even Thomas Edison creating the light bulb, it wasn't just 3 approaches that he used, or 3 times. He failed a lot of times. So 1, keep going. But 2, you need to take calculated risks. Right? So I am a risk taker, but I try not to lose my head, so that in case that business is not successful, I'm still okay. So keep going, but don't try not to get a whole container. Maybe you can look for somebody else in the same business and merge, so that if it's successful, you get half of it. But if it fails, you're sharing the loss as well. So that's what I've done in other businesses that I've been involved in, which is just share the profits, share the losses, but definitely keep going. And that's what I want to leave you with. I think that your head is in the right place. So keep thinking, and I think you can change the world. Now, to your medicine cardiology, are you planning to transition to do medicine in Canada as well? You're working on it, and you have the right mentors, you know who to talk to. That's all going great.
I don't have right now, because I don't, right now, he mentioned there is a team for the doctors where we can discuss the pathway to become a doctor. So I wanted to go to their booth and ask this information.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm positive we have some doctors even in this room now. So maybe during the mentoring sessions, we can get connected, and I can put you in touch with one of them, okay?
I think you also have a question about raising investment. Yeah. Okay. I can talk to you separately on that. But as I said earlier, to get an investor interested in what you do, you need to present your case, what you do. What are you going to do, and how much money you need, and what you need to at least to be able to show through a simple business plan, this is the stream of income that will come in the next few years.
You make it meetings for investors to invest on your idea. First, written idea, it should be very clearly communicated and experience.
Yes.
Okay, two things is possible, but not the third one, which is experience.
Yeah, that's why you need to work for other people first before you actually start a business sometimes, because why would I invest in a business in real estate for somebody who's before it was just an IT guy, right? I would probably invest in her business in real estate rather than in somebody else's. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? Any more? Okay. You have a question? Oh, okay. It's the last question for today because we want to round up on time. And then we have the Q&A.
Thank you. My name is Rowena. I'm part of the church, TICC. And yeah, some of the questions says that how are you going to, if you come here to Canada in your prime life? Well, I came to Canada, I was 50 years old. And you're absolutely right. You have to be humble because you cannot get the position that you have way back home and instantly get the position here. So you had to be very flexible. Like for me, I have two jobs. One is a job that will put money, food on your table. And the other one is I had to develop myself and go to school so that I could have the position that I had before. One of the speakers says also that you had to be in a community. Yeah, I found my community in a church, this church, and you're all welcome. Why? Because in the church, you can establish your connection, your network. And then, if there's high and there's low, you have the spiritual support. You have the social support. That's why it's very important that you have people around you. Do not be by yourself. Now, my question for today is that we are in a country where there are a lot of races involved, people around. How can you overcome the racial barrier when it comes to looking for a job or looking for a place in your career?
Thank you so much, Rowena. Does anybody want to take that? Okay, started. Yeah.
So the question is, how can you get a job irrespective of your race? Is that it?
Yeah. How do you overcome racial barriers when it comes to getting a job?
Is it when you start work or while you're looking for the job?
Oh, in every area.
Okay.
Because in reality, there is a barrier.
Yeah, obviously. I tell people, don't be deceived. There's a systemic bias everywhere. From the moment where they see your name, even to when you open your mouth and you speak out whatever it is. People already have their own perception, even though a lot of organizations are trying their best to re-educate people and to let people know that diversity is really our strength. So back to the question. So one thing I would say is that for every time and everywhere you find yourself, always show what value you bring to the table. So for instance, when I'm in a room and I see a lot of people with different colors who have different experiences, I ensure that my voice is heard. My opinion comes out. Though it took a long time to get to that point where I then open my mouth and say, well, and then once I'm done speaking, people then say, wow, we never thought about that perspective. Because trust me, we are from different places. We've been through a lot of experiences that a lot of people have not been through. So for instance, I was talking to someone about, I don't know if that's true with some of you, but from where I'm from, our parents pay for our school fees. We don't work to go to university. I mean, in Nigeria. Unlike here, you find out that kids start to work even when you're in university, they have lots of loans. So I was like, I can tell you categorically that a lot of Nigerians going through their first degree didn't have loans if they studied in Nigeria because our parents paid for it. Someone was shocked. She was like, how on earth? So can you say at that point, she didn't understand where I was coming from. She didn't understand my experiences. She didn't understand my perspective. And I'm sure that's the same way also it happens to everyone in every room on different topics. So what I would say, and what I said before, is that, one, ensure that you always make your voice heard. Your perspective doesn't go silent, because you don't know how well that idea you've thrown out there is going to make a big difference in that room. So I'm going to stop and let other people add, but that's one thing that I know works. Yeah.
Can you all do me a favor and just take a leap of faith? And let me tell you what I mean. When I started looking for work, I applied for entry-level jobs because I thought, who's going to hire me to be like a manager, right? There was an interview that I went for customer service. 12 of us went for that interview. They selected 11 people, and I didn't get the job. Until I started applying for senior level roles, they never called me to actually like second level interview. So what am I saying? I do understand that we should be humble and, try to apply for the entry level roles. But as you're applying for the entry level roles, apply for the managerial roles as well. Because there are times you're too qualified for the entry level, so they just wouldn't call you. So do both. Don't say, I need to be humble, and don't apply for the one they can actually take you for. And if they don't take you, you haven't lost anything, right? So just keep that in mind as you apply. Just apply for as many as you want in different levels and see which would take you. And when I actually got my first job, I got two on the same day. 2 levels that I did not even think I could do. But my husband said, if they called you, it's because they believe you can do it. So, yes, so I went there and did my best. So that's one. And then 2, that's why I said take a leap of faith, because that's a leap of faith. The second one is, can we assume there is no racism? Can we live our life and assume there is no racism? Just imagine that person is looking at you funny because there's something in their eye. Or that person doesn't want you because you're just not right for the role, and just keep going on. Because when you start believing that there is racism, it would start affecting you. And places you should talk, they would get your voice, and you wouldn't be able to share your opinion, because now somehow they made you feel like you're less than. Even in fact, in my country, if you're lighter skinned, you're of a better race than we dark skinned people, right? So there is some kind of systemic thing everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. So just tell yourself, next time you feel it, like this could be racism. Maybe they're going through a divorce, their girlfriend left them, they're hungry, they're constipated. You don't know what's going on. So don't ever just assume that it's racism. And do you how you would honestly want to. Speak, be your authentic self, show up, and just do the best you can. Okay?
Oh, sorry.
As newcomers, is our resumes, right? Because there are times when you cannot be applying for an entry-level job and you have master's, PhD on it. It won't work. There are times when you have to take some things off your resume and tailor your resume for the position that you're applying for. Looking at a job, it takes time. So you have to do your resume for each position that you're applying for separate. AI is taking over now, right? So when you apply for jobs at times, it is not filtered manually, it is filtered electronic. And if you don't have those key points on your resume, It doesn't matter how qualified you are for the position or how much you can do it, you will not be selected for the next level. So you have to take that into consideration and be very mindful when you're doing your resume. Have someone look it over for you, or sign up with with us or any other employment agency, where an employment counselor will be able to assist you with your resume. And you also have to be willing and be mindful to take the suggestions and do it accordingly. There are times you'll say to clients, I don't think you should have this for this position. And they're upset because that's their qualification that they work hard for, but we're in a different country, right? Also, for interviews, it's very important that you practice for your interview. Have someone assist you with it. Practice makes you perfect, right? So think of the questions. Have someone help you to go through the interview process with you, how to answer the questions, etc. And then she said, there's no racism. Just tell yourself that you're going for this and this is what you're going to get. We face racism in our own country, in our own families, in our own circles. So just pretend it's not there and just do what you have to do. As I tell my children, you walk into a room, you don't care who's around you. You don't look on color. It has nothing to do with you. Be who you are and go for what you want. The sky's the limit.
Okay, Danny, we're going to say something? Okay, all right.
All right. I just wanted to add something about this topic is know that you're valued and value yourself. I'll keep it as simple as that. Know that God loves you and He values you, so you should value yourself. Second thing about resumes, I'm not trying to put you out of business, but I use ChatGPT to make my resumes. I'm serious, I do. So there's a way I do it. I copy the job posting and I copy my resume and I ask ChatGPT to make my resume. It does a good job, and then this is something very important that I do and try to do is I send my resumes to friends and ask them to review it for me, and I review theirs as well. So that helps me. That gives me an idea on how resumes are, how an interviewer is reading it when you're in a room on a panel, and things like that. So I'll keep it at that. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think we're done for today. Thank you to all our panelists. You've all been amazing. I believe that everybody has learned something here. There's something that you can take away from each and every one of them. I mean, I have a list as it is. We're going to do a photo shoot now with a photo session with the Pastor Nathan, and then afterwards we're going to have a one-on-one session. So if you would like to meet our panelists or you want to meet our coaches, can our coaches and our mentors, can you just stand up for recognition? Just stand up. We know where you are. You just stand up. Let's just meet them. Thank you so much for volunteering to be here. So we have HR specialists. We have people who are into businesses. And, if you want a one-on-one session with them, you want them to critique your resume, you just want to have a discussion with them. Some of you are looking at, you want to transition from what you're doing currently, you don't want to do what you're doing, you're being forced or sort of because of the circumstance of where you are, you probably are thinking of having a career change. There's so many things happening in our minds that we might need to speak with experts. So this is an opportunity for that. We're going to do that for the next 1 hour, and there's also refreshment afterwards. So please feel free to let us know who you want to meet with so that we can organize that. That will be at the lobby for the one-on-one session. Will there be any more questions so that we can round the panel session off for today? No more questions? All right. Thank you so much again, our panelists, and thank you all for coming here as well. Please let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.